Yo, people, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV and welcome to the debate show. We are in the building. Make sure you guys hit that like button straight away. You know what I mean? Everybody that's in the building right now, nearly 100 of you already. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, man, we are live in the building. We got Marcel back in the building. Marcel, what are you telling me?
I'm good. I'm good. Nice to see everyone today in the panel. Hope everyone's well, man. I'm looking forward to tomorrow mainly.
Yeah.
And the debate today, of course.
Of course, man. Big up, bro. We got a man like Adam Fresh, you know what I mean? He's suited, he's ready. He's ready for the Bruno debate. He said he's excited, man. He's excited.
How you doing, bro? You all right?
Yeah, man. Not too bad, bro. Good to see you after
Yeah.
a couple of weeks away. But yeah, man, everything all good. Yeah, man. Big up to you. Statman Bays is in the building. Stat, what are you telling me?
I'm good. What are you saying?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad, man. Listen, I just watched Tottenham beat Everton. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna, they're getting results. You know, man. Tottenham are not playing, man. They got their results today, so it's all on us tomorrow, man. Newcastle tomorrow, but obviously we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But we're gonna discuss Bruno Fernandes. I think it's the subject that divides everyone. You know, what I mean, everyone's got an opinion about Bruno Fernandes. I'm gonna start with you, Marcel. Give me your opinion on Bruno Fernandes right now at the minute, and just your overall feeling before we get into the nitty gritty of his style of play and what he does. You know, how do you find Bruno Fernandes?
Right now, as we're speaking, Said, I think Bruno Fernandes is a fantastic player for our club. I think he right now he's come into prominence. He's had to evolve his game last season, or especially under Ole, he had the keys to the club, was the main focal point of the team, number 10, especially in that COVID season. You could always hear Ole talking about Bruno, 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 but now obviously he's had to change his game under Ten Hag. He doesn't have the main responsibility of creativity, focal point of play, all sorts, but he's finding it difficult, but he's looked like captain. He's looked like the main skipper of the club, and he's producing performances right now. If you look back to Southampton, he scored. He played well against, and he's never been a big game player, Bruno. But against Arsenal and Liverpool, come and contributed in big moments as well. And I just don't understand the criticism. You know, we don't have a better number 10 right now in the club than Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion.
Adam, do you agree with this one? Do you think there's nothing wrong with Bruno Fernandes? We should be giving him more praise. What's your opinion on Bruno Fernandes?
Nah, man. I like Marcel, but I completely disagree on probably everything you just said, bro. Like everything. I don't think he's our best number 10. I think he's not our second best number 10, to be honest. I don't think he's pivotal. I don't think he's that good of a player. I don't think he's that important of a player. I like his effort. I like his work rate. I like his energy. And I think that is very important when you're trying to drill a team into playing with the high press and with a new manager. But I cannot agree. And I would sell Bruno Fernandes at the first opportunity. I really don't think he's that good of a player. I really don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, Statman, obviously, you've heard the 2 points there. I think you sometimes question the criticism of Bruno Fernandes, but can you see why there's criticism? Do you not feel like we could get a better number 10 that plays better football? Might not get the stats that Bruno Fernandes gets you, but plays better and would let everyone else around them play better. Do you not think, that there's number 10s out there that can do that? What's your opinion on the Bruno Fernandes at the minute?
But let's be honest, like we could probably upgrade on every single person in the starting 11. But then at the same time, if we're looking at our current team, this is where I agree with Marcel. Like he's our best number 10 because we have no one else currently. Like Donny van der Beek injured. I hear when people say Eriksen, but then you're moving Eriksen away from the deeper role which Ten Hag wants him to play. Like say whatever you want about Bruno Fernandes, at least you can rely on him in terms of he's never injured. Like I 100% here in terms of like his play style and stuff. It can be frustrating. Let's not lie. Like you saw it the other day, for example, silly shots sometimes forcing passes. But listen, man, that's just his play style kind of thing. And I don't know if that's ever going to be eradicated, if that makes sense.
You know, my thing is, in terms of the output, I think it's always going to. I think now it's starting to dry up, and now it's starting to make him look like, what is your game? Like Marcel, can you tell me what Bruno Fernandes' game is without his stats? And I know that's crazy to say. No, hold on a minute. That's crazy to say because people can say, right, that well, that's sometimes a player what he is, what is football. But you can see, a substance of a player, without the stats. The eye test can tell you if a player is good enough or not. When you look at Bruno Fernandes, do you think you see a good player there? Going away from his stats, his overall game.
Yeah, his overall game. So, well, let me just answer the first bit. What he brings, he would have got 2 assists in the last game if Fred scores, if Rashford scores. So he would have had 2. So he's a productive footballer. Let's just get that right, guys. He is productive in the final third. He would have had 2 assists in the Omina game if Fred and Rashford had scored. So that's one thing. What he brings to the game is dynamic second man runs. There's nobody like has already been mentioned. Nobody puts in as much effort as he does. He's the only player in the team that gets along with everyone. And I'm talking about currently right now, because I'm not trying to say there's no better number 10s in world football. But right now, what we've got in our squad, that's the best number 10. He's one of the best players in the team right now for the club. He's always the best ability in football is availability. And he's always there. He's even more available than Maguire now. Maguire's even coming up injured. He's in terms of this stage of Ten Hag ball, we need a player like this that's hungry to play, always available to play, and puts maximal effort in. Yes, this is completely opposite to what his game is. We've seen the best version of Bruno when he's carried us under Ole ball, counter-attacking style. He wants to always force the ball going forward. He wants space in behind the defenders. So that's why we're not seeing the numbers from him as much, because he has to hold the ball more, retain it, and not be so frantic with the football.
But he is doing that, though. He is giving the ball away, though.
But so is Eriksen. Eriksen's done it just as much as him, funny enough. Believe you me, Said. Eriksen's done.
But Eriksen is more influential in what we try to do. Without Eriksen, we don't get the ball from deep. We can't dictate what Bruno Fernandes can do. You would argue he's probably got better passing ability. He can do more than what Bruno can give you. You made a point there, Marcel. I want to touch on that. You said for what we're doing right now, Bruno Fernandes makes sense. So what's the future then like for Bruno Fernandes? Can he evolve in the Ten Hag system?
It might be a different position for him. So I feel like in terms of football and style and positional, we'll hopefully be reverting to a 6 and 2 8s. So he can maybe turn into an 8, or maybe out wide. I was speaking to the guys from We Talk Ajax. I've been to Ajax to watch Ten Hag construct a team just before he came to Man United, and they were saying, and I spoke to them as well, and they're saying that Bruno eventually maybe goes out to the wide areas at some stage. And we've seen him play, I think, against Liverpool, against Arsenal, the last 20 or 30 minutes or so in the wide areas while Eriksen goes into the 10, and we short everything as we get Casemiro and Scott McTominay as the 2 6s. But that's just the early stages. We don't have the type of players that Ten Hag wants currently. The Frankie de Jong, the Maverick 6 that can do all the build-up play. That's why Eriksen's right now in the 6. But right now, Bruno, he offers dynamic runs. He offers good recycling of the ball. Sometimes he's not doing it all the time at the moment, and he is wasteful and rash. But he still has that productivity in the final third. Like I said, the last game it would have been 2 assists for Bruno Fernandes if the other players score.
Adam, do you see where Marcel's coming from in what he can give us at the minute, or do you see that other players can give that? Go on. No, go on.
You said everything I hear when people are defending Bruno, and what I've heard so far, it has nothing to do with Bruno himself. He's being given attributes and praise for stuff that is not intrinsic to himself. He's the most available. He's the one that doesn't get injured. That has nothing to do with Bruno himself, in the sense that it's not a quality. It's like being, I like you, I like this employee because he's never sick. Well, he's not my best employee, but at least he's reliable. But he doesn't do as good a job. It doesn't have anything to do with him that he doesn't get injured or stuff like that. So those are not actually qualities that are referring to his game. It has nothing to do with his game. It has to do with the whole thing, but not his actual attributes. And I think the question you asked, Saeed, is what is Bruno's game? And I don't think the answer has been the question has been answered in that regard. So, and what is Bruno's game? When people say Eriksen loses the ball just as much as Bruno, that's okay. But I don't have a problem with someone losing the ball trying to do the right thing. I have an issue when someone loses the ball not trying to do the right thing. And when you have 2 options, one is 40 yards out and one is 15 yards out, I would put money on the 15 yards pass being more successful and probably the best thing to do. Sometimes, and I think Eriksen is wasteful as well. and he was wasteful when he was at Spurs as well. And he's not. I think Bruno and Eriksen are actually very, very similar players. Just one is more intelligent and smoother with it. But I think their profiles are actually fairly similar. It's just when you have those two players, I'd just much rather have Eriksen. And I would go for another midfield player. And the one that's getting benched is Bruno, if you ask me.
The comment here, someone's raised with you because obviously it's in what you said about Bruno taking on defenders if he plays out wide. Like, we've seen it happen a few times, but again, you know what I mean? We're trying to find ways to fit Bruno Fernandes in. You know what I mean? That's where I kind of look at it from. I mean, Shaq says sign Maddison to compete with Bruno. Is competition another thing, Statman, why we might be seeing the game slacking off? You know, I mean, the fact that he's not feeling like he feels like he's undroppable at the minute. You know what I mean? Because he could do what he wants. There's not really who else going to be playing there. You know what I mean? Iqbal can't play there. Donny's out injured. There's not one really else out there. You know what I mean? That Ten Hag can call on. Really?
I hear that, but I don't think, for example, the way people criticize Bruno and what people don't like about Bruno changes with competition. Like, what does bringing in Maddison actually change the Bruno Fernandes game? This is just Bruno for you, kind of, isn't it?
Good, bro. Good point.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how it changes, kind of thing. Like, maybe people say like Bruno needs a rest and stuff, but I'll be honest, like even Bruno without a rest, with a rest, he just looks exactly the same kind of thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
Is that a good thing though?
No, it's not a good thing because the fact that he's not scoring as much is just highlighting the player he is. But I don't think Bruno dropped off in the last 2 years. I think he's been actually very steady.
Actually, you know what? I think the only thing that might have dropped up, I think his finish in the first year was very, very good.
Yeah.
Like him in front of goal, everything was going. And I think over the last like 6 months, he's kind of dropped off in terms of how clinical he was in front of goal kind of thing. But he used to be very, very clinical.
And his first season...
The game was set up for him, though, guys. That's why the game was set up for him in the first season when he comes in. There was no.
I don't think finishing.
Independent.
No, but I don't think finishing has anything to do with how the team set up. That's just an attribute kind of thing, isn't it?
No, but what I would say, man, is the positions that you pick up when you know that you're getting the ball and the game is set up for you. It's like Messi. Messi would come in the second wave of runs. He would let the strikers make the first wave, and then was it Alba? Alba would always cut the ball back to him because he knows he must get the ball in that moment. He's always going to get the football. That's when the game's set up for you. No matter where you are on the pitch, they must play the ball to you. That's what was happening under Oli Ball the first season. Now that we had the worst season on record, so many different managers, Ronaldo comes in, and now Ronaldo has to be the man of the team. The team's trying to fit and play to him, but then Bruno's in the same spaces as Ronaldo naturally. You're not going to get the same Ronaldo last season.
But I think that point in there, he's just talking about volume rather than quality kind of thing. Maybe Bruno's getting less shooting opportunities, but when he is, I don't think he has been as clinical as he was in his first season.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And you know what, Statman, I think Bruno signed in January, so his first year, let's say, when everybody was thinking he was so very, very good and he scored a lot of goals. His first year,
he deserves a lot of credit for that, by the way.
Until the next gen, I think he scored half of his goals. And how much did he score? 25, 28.
He scored. What was it? His first
year. So
full season, he scored 18 goals, and I think 9 of them were penalties.
Yeah,
funny enough, he got more non-penalty goals last season.
Exactly. So if you take that year when he scored 18 goals with 9 penalties and the 6 months from January till the summer, I think he scored around between 25 and 30 goals. Half of those goals are penalties, and from the last half that is not penalty goals, half of them, so you say the quarter of all the goals are outside of the box. So, and as you said, his shooting is not as good as it was in the first year. So that leaves basically just the quarter of his, let's say 25 to 30 goals that are actually goals. And he's producing just as many goals if you think about across an entire season. And that would be around 6 to 8 goals, let's say, something like that. And he's producing that still. It's just that Martial's not playing. So we don't have a number 9 that is actually holding the ball and allowing him to get into the scoring positions. And we are not getting as many penalties as we used to, as we were getting with Ole. I think we had a penalty every 3 games. Like something like 50 pens and 150 appearances with Ole, which is ridiculous. So and he was taking all of those penalties. So it's not even that the goal scoring he's not scoring as much or that he's performing not as well. Just all of the circumstances, when you analyze it and you just like point it out and just think about it, he's producing just about the same level in performance. And the amount of goals is relatively the same, not that big of a difference. But he's not taking pens, and we are not getting pens, and we are coached, so you can't just wander around whatever you want. So there are many factors in. It's not necessarily that Bruno is not scoring as many goals. He's doing fine. He's doing fine.
This the thing for me though, Marcel. When the game, say now, is a low block, or what game you're trying to play, do you think Bruno Fernandes is key to what Ten Hag is doing, or is he more what Alien Tello's doing here? Just being there, run around and make sure we're pressing. Is there actually a role for Bruno Fernandes in his team?
I think that's what Ten Hag is trying to find out. Like I said, I think we're at the beginning phase of Ten Hag ball. So he's just making do with what he's got. None of these are really his players. He hasn't got 11 or 16 of his players right now. So he has to fit, certain players in certain positions for now. We'll most probably end up seeing Bruno in the 8 or on either wing. I don't think there'll be a 10 under when Ten Hag gets into the other phases of his system. I don't know though. I don't know where he right now he fits perfectly in the 10 for me. There's no other position. Everywhere else, he will lose the ball too much, and in dangerous areas where you can lose the ball trying to create things. Kevin De Bruyne loses the ball just as much as Bruno Fernandes. That's the art of the position. You're meant to take risks. It's for the reward of breaking the lines and getting past defenders. That's the whole purpose of his position. Like I said to you guys, he's very productive. And I did mention the qualities of Bruno. He's very productive in the final third. He makes good second man runs, and he has good link up play with certain of our players. He understands Rashford's runs. He's got good interchanges with Bruno, with Tony Martial when he plays, and he gets along with all the other players. He's very encouraging to everyone, and he wants to win for our side. His pressing and energy is there. He's got clear qualities of his ability that other players are not bringing. There's no one in that front four is pressing as much as Bruno right now. If all of them were pressing, we would get a lot more goals.
Yeah, I think that's why he plays, and this is the first thing I said. I like his energy, his work rate, his effort. I think he's very good in that, and I think that's the main reason why he plays, because Ten Hag is trying to implement a high press and a high energy style of football. And when you have players like Bruno that can actually give you that all the time, you play players like Bruno until the rest of the team actually get on board with that level of energy. So, but at the moment, I think when we will reach the level where everyone's playing well and everyone is on job, I think he will be the weakest point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When we reach a high level of football, a high standard level of football, can Bruno adapt in that? You know what I mean? And can he? Because at the minute, even when you watch him for Portugal, he's not the main guy. He's not. Yeah. There's other players that are taking more the prominent role. Aiden Tenno says here, if Erik ten Hag buys Frankie de Jong, RIP Bruno. People are saying as well, man, is that an insult to Kevin De Bruyne? The way you compared him, Marcel, you know what I mean? They're saying that good number 10s.
I'm just giving the reality of the game.
Good number 10s block low blocks like what Sancho did when he came on against Ammonia. Nah, don't compare Bruno to KDB. Can't chat to him. Is there a different way, Statman, of maybe we can find where Bruno can play as an 8, maybe? Is Eriksen, can he not play in that position? Sancho, is there other? Because I'm looking at the games coming up in these big games, and if our number 10 isn't at the forefront of what we're doing, then it's going to be, because you got to remember, for other teams, their number 10s they're sole creators. If Bruno Fernandes is large ineffective, what do you do then?
You play him because you have no other options. Like, that's the stage where United, and I think, like, obviously people are going to criticize Bruno for the last couple of games, but the next, especially like the bigger games, you could argue we're going to be playing more in the transition. You could argue that suits him a bit more, especially against Tottenham, where you can argue Tottenham and Chelsea probably don't have that elite DM yet. I think Bruno Fernandes on the transition has been all right. You saw it against Arsenal, for example. Those sort of games kind of suit him. And I've always said it, Bruno on the transition, different player kind of thing. When you're trying to play a more possession-based game, a bit more controlled, then you might see more flaws of Bruno Fernandes kind of thing, innit? But I think only time will tell kind of thing. Like, for example, against, what's that team called? The Nomia kind of thing. You could argue Donny van der Beek could have been more effective if Donny van der Beek's at the best of his game, which we haven't seen for a long time. But listen, man, he's injured, so you can't really say anything.
Jack says here, Adam, he doesn't start for any other top 6 side. What do you reckon to that one? In terms of the people above us and the way they're trying to play football now, does he get into any of them teams, Adam, for you?
It depends. It depends on how the team wants to play. I think you might say maybe for Spurs. I don't think he plays for Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and City. That's obviously he can't play for those two, to be honest. And I think Statman made a good point. When you're playing, and this is why he looked probably a bit better with Ole. Ole was not coaching the team. You have no plan. So basically, when you have no plan, the by default parameter is counter, because you can't organize yourself in a possession-based way when you're not getting coached. So obviously, this is why you have the best team. They play with the ball in the attack, and the more you go, from example, down the table and down the leagues, teams are more defensive, of course. And when you have more defensive setup, or when you play against a team that is better, and you're more likely to hit them on the break, Bruno and Rashford are at their best. But if you are trying to actually dominate the team and have the ball, I don't think those two players are actually. I don't think they suit the purpose. So, and this is why we won against Arsenal. We expected Arsenal probably to have more of the ball. And then if you play against a team like Omonia, you have Bruno and Rashford. They have their strength, but their strength are maybe not the best suited for the team we're facing. So it's a I
think Rashford's a bit more suited though. Like even like no matter what sort of game it is, there's always going to be that threat in behind in certain situations. Like you saw it against Nomia kind of thing. Like I still thought, don't get me wrong, Rashford was frustrating in terms of his finishing, but I thought he was our brightest forward the other day.
Yeah, I think if his finish was all right, he would have scored a lot. But I think if he was a better player, he would have picked more better passes. Because when Rashford successfully completes an action, when he dribbles someone, or when he does a good bit of play, I think he feels like he's forced to shoot. Like he has that highlight reel moment when he just does something and smashes it top bins. And he would be so much better, Rashford, if only he could pick a pass after doing something right. And at the moment, bro, every time he gets something good done, he shoots. And every time Rashford gets a confidence back and he gets a few goals and he gets the love back, he starts shooting again and shooting again and shooting again. And we see the difference when Sancho came on. Sancho had the option of passing or shooting, and you need to pick the decision at that specific moment. So I think I agree with what you're saying, Statman, but overall, I think you lose too much with those players for the potential reward you could get in those type of games.
Is this similar to the situation with Pogba, Marcel, that we've got to find players to adapt to Bruno's game? You know what I mean? Because of the fact that he is a player who can maybe help out because you see the midfield is exposed in the Man City game. Is there no situation with Pogba finding a way to kind of fit him into this Man United team, or what you reckon down the line? Because a lot of people are comparing him now, saying that he will be the scapegoat now. You know, like Pogba did, where we're having to find out a solution for him to get into the team. What do you reckon of that, bro?
So firstly, I hope it doesn't get to that stage. I mean, we need to find our identity as a football club. That's where we are at right now, and that's what we've embarked on. So we know that there's parameters. We're a positional-based team, and players need to now fit that system. Bruno right now is having to adapt his game, like I said before. I agree with everyone. I don't think he perfectly fits the system, and in the long term, he most probably gets moved on. But Pogba's situation was a little bit different, whereas I don't think we had a clear identity, and he didn't really fit that style of football. Whereas now we've got a clear identity, and now it's a process. All these players are going to slowly get weeded out. Some of them that are not good enough, some of them that can't play the style of football. Bruno's one of them. But he's done that. He's become a captain of this side. He looks like the best footballer in the team suited for captaincy. So he's going to be in a predicament where he's going to take longer to get shifted out, and he's going to get the longer opportunity to prove himself. And he's earned that, for me, in my opinion. He was the only one carrying the club in big moments when we needed him under Ole. So he deserves the extra bit of time. It's the first phase. We've only played 15 or so games. Let him come into his own and let's see where he lands. But he is still very productive, guys. He's scored already for us this season. He's helped give us assists this season. And I think he'll continue to show that he's a very productive player.
Marcel's right. Marcel's right in terms of like, you're not really going to be getting rid of Bruno Fernandes anytime soon. Like when people compare it to Paul Pogba, at least with Bruno, and I'm not saying Bruno's the better player, but Bruno can stay fit. And we've also seen, for example, remember when he was on the bench last year against Villarreal? I think it was under Michael Carrick. He still came on and made an impact kind of thing, innit?
Yeah.
It's just how you use Bruno Fernandes at times.
You know what? When you mean he's not going to go anywhere, is that a situation of, is that an indictment of the players that are not around? Is that an indictment of we just have to just bear with it? Are you just telling people just to wait till Bruno Fernandes' form gets better? Is that what we have to do now with Bruno?
It's the board. Okay, this is a microcosm of the macrocosm. We have not got a structure and style of football, so of course we're going to have players here that shouldn't be here, or that look at our place within the squad and those kind of things. It's just this is happening at maybe the biggest level. One of the top players in the team, in Bruno Fernandes, that right now doesn't look like he fits within the squad. But that could soon change, to be honest with you, say. That could honestly change. And I've seen him do half decent, at least, on the right side. Obviously, now Anthony's come in. But for the first couple of games, he was all right on the right side for little spells that he had out there.
Have we got a midfield balance conundrum, Adam, in terms of Bruno and Eriksen, Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno? Or do we have to play, in a more balanced way in terms of maybe Casemiro, Fred, and one of Eriksen or Bruno? Where are you in terms of the midfield balance to maybe help Bruno, maybe to help Eriksen? Because you said Eriksen and Bruno are similar players. So if we're going to have two players giving the ball away, it's not going to help in the long run, is it?
Yeah, but when Eriksen plays deeper, he actually is intelligent enough.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Game, so he's not that similar as Bruno when he's deep to when he was actually at Spurs or when he's more forward. I think we cannot have too many players that can't play, that are not slick enough with the ball. You can't have, if you want Bruno to play, you cannot have Rashford and Ronaldo. If you want Ronaldo, you cannot have Rashford and Bruno. You can't have those three together. You can at max have two of those. But you can't have too many players that are prone to losing the ball and to shooting. This is the thing, the same problem we had when we had Bruno, Rashford, Cavani, and Mason Greenwood on the right. That was actually terrible. You have four players up front that are trying to shoot. You can't have too many of those. And we've seen teams win with only midfielders, but you never see a team win with only goal scorers, because more goal scorers don't mean more goals. It means less chances created. So the balance in the midfield, I think for the moment we can play Bruno, Eriksen, and Casemiro. But you need to find the right balance with the forwards, because those forwards needs to be included. It's a team, as Marcel said. It's a whole thing. We cannot just pinpoint Pogba or Bruno, or how do we do this for this player or do this for this player. As a whole, what makes more sense? And that's the balance where I think that's the balance issue as a whole team, not just this player or that player.
Statman, you said it as well, that Bruno and Eriksen, you think they might not be able to play with each other. What do you reckon in terms of that balance there?
I said it before, I don't like it, but then the thing I always say, what's the solutions?
No, we do have solution though. Casemiro,
No,
Fred.
but you say
Sorry,
that-
no, Fred in there.
No, but that's not a solution for me, because Ten Hag clearly wants Eriksen deeper for the progressive passing and all of that stuff. Fred can't do that role. So unless it's changing how Ten Hag sets the midfield up, you're just doing completely different with the solution that you're saying.
What would you do if you were to tell Ten Hag right now your kind of midfield and the balance you would have? What would you say to him?
I think if I'm Ten Hag, I'm just keeping it the same for now.
Yeah, but you've got one chance to speak to Ten Hag, and you think this midfield isn't working. What are you going to say to him?
Keep it the same. Like as I said, I don't think but the thing is, I don't think we have a good midfield right now. I don't know whether whatever three you have is a good midfield. I don't think we have a balanced midfield that's good for what Ten Hag wants. De Jong, if we sign him, massively changes that.
I hear you, and this is what I said. We needed two midfielders, and I said two midfielders and two centre halves last summer. And people said I was exaggerating on this, but I don't think we had that good of a transfer window. We needed at least two.
In hindsight, now you're right in terms of the midfield as well. Yeah,
we needed two midfield players and two centre halves, because now something happens. Lindelof does my head in. He really does. And
you think so?
Oh yeah, he does my head in, bro. You could see it.
You don't think he's been alright the last couple of games?
I think Lindelof I think his mistakes are so subtle that he tricks everyone. He's not.
No, but, hey, Adam,
I know what he means. I know what he means.
You know my problem. Look at Lindelof and look at Varane. When there's a clearance header, Lindelof the ball always goes back to the opposition. No authority, no strength, no intent of getting rid of that ball. When he's going shoulder to shoulder with a player, you don't feel sorry or scared for the other player. You feel sorry or scared for Lindelof. And look, it's not even a size thing, because Martinez, I feel very safe with him. So we needed 2 midfielders and 2 centre halves, because
But I hear that, yeah. We see with the Lindelof thing. Currently, let's be honest, Lindelof's 3rd/4th choice centre back, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's coming in when everyone else is injured, which is why I don't mind. I think he's a calm squad player. He's not really going to complain. Decent on the ball. He reliable, let's be honest, in terms of injury record.
But you criticize Varane yourself for being injury prone. So we are very close to having Lindelof or Maguire. So
but that's not Lindelof's fault for me, kind of thing, isn't it? That's Rafa Varane's fault in terms of his injuries.
Yeah, but
if we use Lindelof as a 3rd/4th choice centre back, and the other little more reliable in front of him, listen, I'm fine with keeping someone like Lindelof in the squad.
Yeah, but if the 2 first centre halves are fit, and we know they are not going to get fit, especially Varane, so it is our responsibility to address that issue, and that issue is addressed by getting someone else. Don't take the chance.
No, realistically, we're all getting rid of, like, let's be honest, Harry Maguire's probably still ahead of Lindelof, and then Varane maybe 2nd/3rd choice centre back, and then Lindelof still stays 4th, in it. I'm fine with that.
I'm sorry, was it Varane 2nd or 3rd?
No, in terms like Martinez is our number 1 centre back. Then Varane, because let's be honest, you have to rest Varane sometimes, innit? With his injury record. So he becomes a 2nd choice alongside Martinez/3rd. If you're bringing someone else in, kind of thing.
You know, let me ask everyone here, what's their ideal sort of number 10? If you were to tell me a sort of number 10, Marcel, what would be your number 10 ideal in the modern era right now?
Wow. So firstly, modern like number 10s are dying. Number 10s are dying. You want now it's very ambidextrous in attack, and we don't give the main responsibility of attacking to number 10.
Yeah, it's everyone together. Yeah,
it's everyone together. Yeah. So that's the first thing. And 2 8s usually occupy that 10 space, or a striker. They all drop in and contribute in the central areas. Number 10s to me, I instantly scream Diego Maradona, Messi, Ronaldinho. That's the first thing. So a player like that. But then when you talk about the modern game, you need somebody that is going to produce more pressing, defensive work. They need to now offer more defensively if you're going to be a focal point or the only 10. So I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't want to play with a 10. I want to play 2 8s personally. But I would think somebody in today's game, is Messi still considered a 10 now?
More forward.
Defensive work.
No, but I'm just kind of go on, Adam. Go on.
Sorry, bro. I cut you off there.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, because I'm looking at the way Odegaard plays, and I'm looking at Bruno Fernandes. Is he actually a number 10, or is he more just a?
He's a second striker. He looks like a second striker, Bruno. Whereas Odegaard does look like the classic number 10. But the position is dying, to be honest with you, Saeed. And us as Man United, we're going to evolve to, in my opinion, 6 and 2 8s. And that's why I agree with people if they say to me, in phase 3 of Ten Hag ball, get rid of Bruno. But right now, that's the only person that looks like they have a bit of a spine. That's the only person that's contributing, in terms of holistically within the team. He speaks well in the media, offers a lot, is productive, is pressing. All these things that other players are not quite doing right now. It's not time to get rid of Bruno. He's one of the last people that you get rid of right now in this squad. I've got fullbacks to get rid of or improve. Goalkeepers to improve.
Even though he's so key in terms of defense and attack, he's almost in that phase of play where when we're on the attack, he stops us. Stops play from happening. And then when we're defending, he kind of exposes that middle line. You think he's the least of our problems?
Yeah, because the middle line's exposed right now, and Bruno runs all the way out to the goalkeeper to press, because no striker wants to press like a Bruno can press. If you had a Sadio Mane around, if you had a Carlos Tevez around, that's going to put the effort in the forward lines. And by the way, Ten Hag speaks about having proactive footballers in the forward line, expending all their energy to attack and only having whatever desire and passion in their heart to attack on transition. He wants them to defend from the front first. That's how footballers should work. They should defend from the front and attack from the back. And we don't have any players that are attacking or starting up build-up correctly. That's why he's playing 2 6s and not the single 6. We want to play a single 6 in this club, but we don't have that attributes. Casemiro doesn't have the minerals for it right now.
Oh, man, please. Guys, by the way, Just please stop the slander on Casemiro, man. Please,
I
he's
don't, you know
getting
what?
better. He will get better, Casemiro. So just give him time, like you know what I mean, like because you're gonna get Statman to start, with this propaganda. I can see you smiling already, man. Like, just give people time.
No, I like Casemiro. Let's not do that.
I like him as
All
well.
right, cool.
I like him as well, Saeed. But when we're talking about single six, Maverick six, we're talking about Nico Barella, Verratti.
He is a single six though. Does he? He don't play the. Go on.
He is a single six, but he's a focal. He's like a focal point six, like how you have a focal point 10 that won't move anywhere, and Ozil, and that just picks the passes. He will just pick his passes in the 6 point. He will sit there and play. Whereas Ten Hag wants someone to drive with the ball, break lines with the ball by carrying the ball through the thirds. He doesn't do that.
But that's what De Jong next to him is going to do.
Yeah. Where? When De Jong would come in.
I don't
We
think
need the young man.
But you still need a Casemiro type player next to a De Jong in my eyes.
Exactly, and this is why Ten Hag, I don't think he's ever played with a 4-3-3 with 2 8s and 1 6.
And
He
even
doesn't
that,
really-
yeah, how many teams realistically play with just a lone six?
And the teams that play with a long 6, they don't have a lone 6 that is defensive. Is a team. If you look at the teams that play with a lone 6 and that have all of the ball, because that's a requirement. If you want only one man deep in midfield, that basically tells you that you're not planning on defending without the ball. You don't. I mean, you will play with the ball. And if you look at the successful team that play with a number one holding player at the deeper number 6, those players are not like Casemiro. They are not like defensive players like Declan Rice or many players of that type of that profile. I don't think we are moving into 2 8s and 1 6 because that puts too much pressure on Casemiro. You won't see the best of Casemiro in that setup, I think. I think when you play him next to someone, you can get someone that is actually capable of being good on the ball and pick good passes, as we've seen. But you get a very good reading of the play and very good defensive IQ. And I don't think it's the way forward, the 2 8s. I really don't think. And if you play with 2 8s, well, then you cannot have Bruno. Because you don't want him to shoot. You don't want him to shoot. You don't want him to score goals if you play him there. Because when you play with 2 8s, you have Iniesta and Xavi, you have Bernardo Silva, you have De Bruyne, you have David Silva and De Bruyne. You don't have players like Bruno in that type of position. You need more like Odegaard, for example, or I don't know, someone like that.
I disagree. I disagree, because when you're playing 2 8s, you don't have the focus. Like you don't need him in the 10 space. Someone else can now occupy it. Ericsson can now go in there and do the 10 space, and he can then help transition defensively, Bruno, because he's going to have the pace and the natural pressing and the guile. So when you have 2 8s, you almost have 3 10s. The striker can go in as a 10. The other 8, not Bruno. You're finally taking that extra responsibility off Bruno, which everyone hates.
But then you don't need a player that's good with a good passing ability, and I don't know if Bruno does have that. That's a problem.
Yeah, I think he has a good long passing range. It's not always accurate, but now he'll be further. So there'll be times in the game where somebody else will be in the 10, for example, Ericsson. Bruno will be deep in the 8/6, and then there'll be a 6 in behind him. So then he would have to find longer passes. And Rashford is the one that always loves to break lines, so he'll be seeing Rashford all the time. You never know.
No, but
what do you think, Adam?
Your setup doesn't involve playing with the ball. You're looking at counter and transition, and we are trying to install ourselves in the opposition half with the ball. And if you have 2 8s and one number 9 that drops deeper, that means your wingers are the one that are scoring goals. Because otherwise, if they are not the one scoring goals, who is? And if your wingers are not scoring goals and the number 9 goes deeper,
that's only one phase of the game. That will be only one phase of the game. So there's multiple phases in the game. So when the 9 drops in, you could have the 8 Bruno or something that I said that he does well, secondary run up into the 10 space. Because when the 9 moves off of the centre backs have nobody, or they follow the centre back, or they follow the 9 into the midfield area. The 8 now can run past him. The 11 or the 7, the 11 or the 7 can run past him.
But that would work with a defender like Maguire.
The reason why the 2 8s work so well is because it gives you so many different types of plays that you can make. And now as a midfielder, Bruno can now occupy the 10 space, and then you almost have a 2 6s and a 10 again for a moment where you can do interchanging and play.
No, what the 2 8s actually give you and the 4-3-3, what it gives you is you have players everywhere on the pitch, but the downside of that is that you are lightweight everywhere on the pitch. So that means a 4-3-3 when you are not actually very dominant like City are, it makes you very vulnerable to getting hit by 3 or 4 goals. So that's why when you're not a good enough team to play with 2 8s and a 4-3-3, you get smashed. And we've seen it because people think that the number 6 is going to defend the entire length of the midfield. When you have 2 number 8s and you're trying to play with the ball, you're trying to make the pitch as big as possible. So you need your players involved. And if you have a number 9, a proper 9, then your wingers, you want them to be not inverted, but you want them to stretch the pitch so they have a focal point to pass the ball into, like David Silva was on the left, Kevin De Bruyne on the right, and everything was converging towards Aguero, with Leroy Sané on the left and Raheem Sterling, who's right-footed, on the right. But the moment Aguero got injured and left the club, and Jesus, for example, was playing as a number 9, Jesus is closer to Martial and to a Benzema, someone that drops in midfield, yeah? At the moment that happened, Pep Guardiola inverted the winger, so he played Mahrez on the right, so he has enough space to come in. But it was actually never and Sterling on the left, and many other right-footed players on the left. And now that we have that they have, for example, Erling Haaland, you can see that Foden is in the team, and he's actually more on the left side-ish. So the number 10, the 2 number 8s are actually never really in charge of scoring the goals. So that's why Bruno doesn't have the right profile to me. And even if it's just, I don't know. I just don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Foden scored a hat-trick as an 8, though. So then when you're playing the 4-3-3, the 2 8s have to have a pivotal role in terms of goal creation and scoring. And especially when you're talking about a Haaland that doesn't like to drop into the 9 space. He likes to go on beyond strikers and break lines. So now there's even more space when he runs further up to break the line. There's even more space now for a Kevin De Bruyne to create and a Phil Foden to create in that 25-yard area. So, like I was saying, and that's Bruno's territory. Honestly, if Bruno was in Man City's team, you lot would be talking completely different about Bruno. But
I don't think he gets in. I'm
not saying right now that he gets in, but I say if KDB didn't exist, say if Bernardo didn't exist, Bruno there, it would be
gosh.
I'll be honest,
but the thing is to say that if Bruno Fernandes, KDB didn't exist, it's a bit wild, isn't it? Like he is there though. He is there.
You're missing the point I'm trying to make.
Go on.
If Bruno was in that side, his numbers predict how he plays. It would fit that team, and he would have higher numbers. Is what I'm trying to say. That's it. I'm not saying these players need to exist or not. I'm just trying to get into your mind that you only believe it because it's reality. Man City really do have those players, and they're really doing it as you can see it. And maybe you can't see any other way of Bruno being part of that side, or any other good player in our team. Eriksen, for example, as well. It's not just about Bruno.
I'll be honest. I've always said this here. I feel like if Bruno ever was at Man City, I don't think his numbers will be as high, but I think he might be a more efficient player. It's similar to Jack Grealish kind of thing, isn't it? Jack Grealish was the main talisman at Villa. You could argue for Pep right now, he's more efficient in terms of the way he plays, but his numbers are massively decreased, kind of. Well, not massively, but it's like.
What do you mean he'd be more efficient, Statman? I want to see what your point. Where you trying to go with the be a bit more efficient. Take care of the ball.
You would have to, otherwise Pep won't blame him.
But the thing is, though, why do we have to go to? He would have to. Why can't you do that at Man United? What you know? What I mean, I don't understand it. Is it the manager? Till we've got 10 now. Why can't you keep better hold of the ball now?
No, but the reason I say he wouldn't play is in terms of they will have a Bernardo, Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan coming in, innit? United, we have no one. So no matter what he does, he plays.
I just think the more better quality we have, I think the more he gets exposed. And I want to go back to you with Statman. You know, do you not think playing that 8 would expose him even more? Like you watched in 8 now. If you had, you don't think so? Okay, explain.
The reason I say that, I feel like one thing I like about Bruno's work rate. Secondly, my biggest problem with Bruno, sometimes he's just way too high up. I've always said this, Bruno's like late man, third man runs are very good. Just learn to time those runs better. Don't be playing on the shoulder defense kind of thing. Because
he's 28, man. He's 28. He should. Is this not a quality that you should already have? I mean, is that something that you're?
Like the manager also has to help him kind of thing, innit? Like drop a bit deeper kind of thing. Because there's no way like Ten Hag seeing this, or maybe Ten Hag don't have a problem with it, but I do say I have a problem with it kind of thing. There's no way he sees this. It's like, yeah, this is fine kind of thing. Because against Everton, for example, he made good runs at times, innit? But there was also times where I'm like, you're basically playing, for example, the first 30 minutes on top of Martial or on top of Ronaldo when Ronaldo came on. You drop 5-10 yards back and then make those late runs. That's when you will see the best out of your game.
Exactly. And you know what, Statman, I think you're right. And as well, I think people are overestimating the goals. It doesn't really matter. And as weird as it may sound, we don't really care about the goals because look, Foden got a hat trick, but the whole team is not built around Foden scoring the goals. It just happened that game his finishing was excellent and he picked up the right positions. But why are they scoring those goals? Because the whole team is playing well. The whole team. We don't care who scores the goals as long as someone does. And we could see it. We are not winning trophies. So Bruno can score as many goals as he wants, and Ronaldo could score, and Martial and Rashford, they all could score 20 goals. If it doesn't lead to anything, I really don't care, and we shouldn't care. And if Bruno gets into position that allow him to score more goals, but we still are fighting for fourth or for third, doesn't really interest me. I'd much rather have someone scoring 5 goals a season and just the whole team is just beautiful to watch and actually threatening to win big honors. And we are not.
But just quickly, do you think Bruno plays better for Portugal?
I'll be honest with you, I don't really see him in this Portugal team. Honestly, I've been watching a lot of Portugal games. He's not the key component in that team.
Do you think he plays better? Forgetting that numbers, do you think he
plays better? Yeah, he does play better. He does play a little bit more, But then again, is he more? Does he stand out as much more in that 8 role? Does he give you? I just don't know. I don't think he does.
I haven't watched enough Portugal to be honest. So because it's hard to watch international football here. Like they just don't broadcast it, and so it's just.
And you know what? International football it's difficult to kind of judge as well.
Fully judge because the tempo is slow. But let me ask you this: would you say Bruno played better when Pogba was on the left?
I think everyone played better. I think everyone played better. Yeah.
But do you think that helps in terms of when Bruno's not that main creative focal point kind of thing?
Yeah.
You see a better Bruno.
Yeah.
When there's like less responsibility for him to kind of like hero everything.
You know
what?
But
I think sometimes it's a characteristic of a player. Sorry, Adam, but it's a characteristic of his player. Go on.
Yeah. But I'm trying to say, I feel like we see that less when you had like, for example, Pogba on the left, or we see that less when he maybe has Bernardo Silva on the right for Portugal.
Yeah, that means he is being improved by the players around him that are superior, but he's not improving himself, his teammates. And I think that is very important. I think I like players that improve the players around them. This is the most important thing for me. This is why I think Martial is a very good player. This is why I rated Pogba very highly. This is why I rated Matic very highly, because and Carrick, for example, and Busquets, for example, the players that you don't really notice, that when you play them, it just feels like everyone around them is picking up better positions, better options, and improving the whole game. I think Bruno, if he's the weakest point, surrounded by good quality players, you can play with him. It's fine. He's not going to drag the level down that badly. But if you're counting on Bruno to be an important player and to actually improve the ones around him, I don't think he's that guy. I really, really don't think he's that guy.
And just quickly, someone said Sancho's meant to be that creator on the left side, man. He's meant to be, but he's not. Like Paul Pogba on the left was better than what Sancho's been on the left, kind of thing, isn't it?
I think people are harsh with Sancho. I'm not with it, to be honest.
Nah, man, Adam, I think you're too lenient.
I'm not too lenient. I think if Sancho did more of what people are expecting him to do and want him to do, we would be criticizing him for the same reason we're criticizing Rashford.
No, but would you not say Sancho was good the other day when he came on?
I think he was good the other day when he came on.
I think that was one of his best games this season, just because naturally he was just a bit more aggressive kind of thing, isn't it? I think it helps him playing with Luke Shaw as well.
I don't think Sancho's been excellent. I think the criticism he's had is not entirely warranted. I think he can do much better than that. Granted, I absolutely agree. I think he is levels above what we've seen. But I don't think he's been that poor. And I think him and Fred were probably our 2 best players for months with Rangnick. And I think he just all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, all of this Sancho hate. I'm not. I'm okay with criticism because I don't think he's been good enough. And there are a few games in particular I thought he was shocking. But come on now, I think it's a bit harsh. The whole narrative, not what you're saying.
I think expectations have just risen. Second season, 72 million kind of thing.
Bro, it is, man. Let me just read these couple of super chats here. Ronald Jacob, big up to you, bro. Bruno is struggling and needs guidance. His one season, he got 28 goals and 15 assists all competitions. I guess he is now waiting, but wanted to start counter eagerly. He's always on the lookout for CR7 and Rashford. And Soto Lee says Bruno is 29. Is Bruno a better player midfielder than Luka Modric? Watching Bruno is difficult. Modric
I can't lie, that's a
improves others.
silly argument though. Like Modric is better than literally every single person on the planet.
Exactly.
And one of the best in football history.
If you
Can I
wanna-
ask you a
if-
question? Yeah.
Exactly. If you want to chat to Modric, you need to pick Iniesta and then man. So
Yeah.
You know when you made the point, Marcel. Yeah. Does Ten Hag evolve this midfield around? Like, say now, Newcastle, we're playing them tomorrow. They've got Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah.
Is a very, very creative midfielder. Can sit in there, dictate. Do we need a regista? Does this team need a regista? Need someone that can create and be that player?
Big words.
I'm just saying, though, does this team need that, or are we just gonna keep on carrying the idea of Bruno Fernandes? Because you can have different styles in it. Like, this is it. Bruno Guimaraes is a big example.
Yeah, the better Bruno, by the way. I would say he's the better Bruno out of the two. I can happily admit that. Newcastle's Bruno is much better. No, I'm not.
So
if
you had to swap Bruno Fernandes and Bruno Guimaraes, would you do that?
Yeah, I would. But I'm dealing with the facts of the matter. Where Manchester United Football Club are currently right now, you need Bruno Fernandes. It would be ludicrous with Man United as it is right now to get rid of Bruno Fernandes. It makes minus sense. None.
So your argument is only based on the fact that Bruno Fernandes is available, and right now is the best that we've got, and right now we need to make it happen. That's the base of your argument?
It has to, of course. We can't get rid of that. We've just signed him a new contract because of what he's done in the last couple of years.
yeah, but that was
so we need to. It's down to opinions, but we need to get the best out of him now. So you're trying to fit him in a position. I don't think we need a regista. We need a regista, but it's got to be like a ball playing. It's got to be a bit of a ball playing. He's got to carry the ball a bit more. Casemiro was not the right type of player, especially under this Ten Hag system. He wasn't the right type of player. But again, Ten Hag's done magic. He's done wonders because he's trying to fit the puzzle and he's trying to make it right, the midfield balance. So, Bruno has to go in the 10. But we need a regista and a ball carrying one. I agree with that.
And you know what? I think, but the way I understood regista, I thought regista is deeper than more creative.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you said, Marcel. And I don't think Casemiro was the right profile of player, but Casemiro is still a good player. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't think when I go hard on Casemiro, people think I don't rate him. It's not that I don't rate him. I just don't think he makes sense. But he's still Casemiro, and I think it's Ricky that said this the other day at Rick the Red, and it made so much sense because it's exactly what I was trying to say. The good bits of play from Casemiro, you expect them from a player of his quality and his CV and his stature, but the bad bits of play, you don't expect them for a player of his caliber, for example. So this is like when he does mistakes, there are weird mistakes from a player of his level, but the good bits you expect them from a player like Casemiro. So it's mostly a profile thing for me, just as Marcel said. I think Said froze, isn't it?
Just quickly, someone said Bruno's top 3 Premier League midfielders right now. Let's not do that. No, you don't even chat to Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne, and they play for one side.
In the City team, the top 3.
Like that, I'm just looking at one side. Like,
it's just one side, exactly.
Yeah, let's not do that. I don't know what happened to Said as well. Wait, what are you lot doing then for Newcastle? Then? What team?
In terms of midfield?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be the same as always. The exact same midfield. I mean, I don't think you can change much. I think Rashford has to come in and play. Sancho maybe has to come in as well, based on how he's done. So I would maybe put Rashford up front because Martial's not playing. Is he fit?
Martial, I think. Yeah, he'll be in front of the bench if he is there.
So it's Rash, Sancho, and Anthony, and then
Ronaldo.
You don't think Ronaldo's going to play?
Nah. Not against Newcastle. They're good side, guys. You need pressing. You need energy. I think it's going to be a tough game. We'll win the game for sure, but we need energy to start with. I maybe bring on Ronaldo 60th, 65th minute, maybe second half, depending on what scenario is there, because they're going to want to come at us. If they score first, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult. We need effort, and I don't think Ronaldo's going to. I think he will score in the game. I think he's got the ability to score in the game and change the result in the game, but to start, maybe not.
Say Maximin's injured, by the way, people in the chat. Say Maximin.
Oh, he's injured?
I think got confirmed today. Yeah, he's injured. He's missing the game.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
positive.
because he's a handful, and Dalot's playing every game. So just on the energy
What,
level,
what about you guys, the midfield? What do you guys do as the midfield?
I'm with you, same thing.
probably the same thing. I agree. I'm not a biggest Bruno fan, but I think you would probably have to play Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. I thought Fred was all right the other day, but it depends on how you want to approach it. I think he's going to play. And knowing Ten Hag, he doesn't like to switch formations and players that much. And especially now, he's trying to get some consistency in those players. Probably the midfield stays the same. I think
Yeah.
Ronaldo, Sancho, and Anthony, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Rashford starts.
Rashford
Ronaldo up top, Anthony on the right.
I think Ronaldo, Rashford, and Anthony. I agree. Excuse me, I got that wrong.
Yeah.
But he didn't play. Do you guys think he played well the last game? He didn't play well the last game.
Who's that?
Ronaldo. He didn't play that. Would you start
Ronaldo, I can't lie to you. I don't know what's going on with this guy, man. He looks a bit frustrating, man, to me up front there. I don't think he has a kind of a clear role in that side.
But then you could argue, did Anthony play? Or you could argue there was parts of Rashford that's frustrating as well, even though he looked the sharpest.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo he's aging as well. Like you can't expect him to be what he should be. It's not going to get better, Ronaldo.
Someone said Martial should start. Listen, Martial is definitely not starting tomorrow.
No, I don't think
you can't trust the guy with his injury record right now.
Apparently, he's racing fit though. Apparently, he could be on the. This is a thing that Ten Hag has got to maybe manage well as well. Is he ego? Because I feel like he believes in him so much, but he's got to just put that to one side and play Ronaldo. But then you don't get an effective Ronaldo. This is the problem, though. You don't get an effective Ronaldo. That's the thing.
Yeah, but we say that he scored against Everton. He was effective against Everton.
No, but I get that. The Casemiro ball through him. But if you look at the game against Ammonia, the more games that he plays, we've seen it. Like he's 38 years old now. He's
but
not
why
a player that
Ronaldo's played the lows this season.
No, but I'm just saying though, innit? When he plays continuous games, we are going to see less of the pressing. He looks more better when he's fresh. That's what all I'm saying to you. He looks better when he's fresh. But then he's got a problem, Ten Hag, in that he can't rush Martial. So you're going to have to play Cristiano Ronaldo, start him, and then hope that we're in a good position to when Martial comes on, we're not having to kind of, chase a lot of lost causes. Let me see what Ronald Jacobs saying. I remember Saeed chanting Bruno's first season saying he's Magnifico and all. I see people twerk for Bruno. Newcastle doesn't make sense. Bruno should have competition. Eriksen, Donny, and Casemiro for me. Okay. But yeah, like I said, with the Bruno Fernandes situation, it is gonna divide opinion. But I think for now, what Marcel says is true. Your best ability is your availability, and right now, nobody's in that position. Donny van der Beek's got a long-term injury. I don't think we'll ever see the best of Donny van der Beek in this Man United team. I think by then he'll be probably sold, or he'll. I just don't know, man. I just don't think it's going to ever happen. It's just one of them sad stories. But tomorrow, Marcel, you confident tomorrow? What's your feeling tomorrow?
Wins at the Old Trafford, man. Wins at the Old Trafford. We need it. I mean, we've got how many games this month? 9 or 10 games. So the home games, it's important that we get behind the team, and hopefully they've got the confidence and they're in a good feeling, because it was a late last win, but it's positive. There's positives from that game. Good attacking play. I'm expecting to see that again the next game. But Newcastle, you've got to respect them right now. They're playing consistent and very well. So it's going to be a difficult match. But if we can score and convert chances that we're creating at the moment, I think we'll get through this game.
No Sam Maximum. That's a good news. But they have got Callum Wilson, who I think is dangerous. Statman, we spoke yesterday. You said a draw would be a good result. Is that still your feeling tomorrow? A draw would be a good result?
St. Maximin's out. We better win now. Because I was worried about Dalot versus St. Maximin kind of thing, in terms of Dalot's played a lot of minutes. He hasn't really got a rest out all this season. I thought the last couple of games he's kind of dropped off a bit compared to how he was playing in that after the Brentford game kind of thing, which was frustrating. But listen, we have no other options. But now we have to win now. St. Maximin's out. And
Adam, in terms of the Varane-Lindelof situation, you said bring Varane back, but it was interesting that Varane didn't come back in against Ammonia. Is it because Ten Hag has got a weird habit? It's got a weird kind of little trend. He'll play you for 4 or 5 games and then drop you. You know what I mean? And now obviously he's given Lindelof a bit of time now. Obviously he's been out injured, but he doesn't just bring you back straight away. And he kind of like makes you wait a little bit. And and then when he wants to bring you in, he'll bring you in. Where are you on the centre back partnership, and also Luke Shaw as well, the back line as well? How do you see the back line coming on tomorrow?
Dalot Martinez, that's 100%. I think the thing with Varane is he fit? Is there a risk? And if there is some sort of risk, I'm okay with Lindelof playing. But of course, Varane and Martinez is the first centre-back pairing, number one, of course. And the thing with Luke Shaw is that guy does my head in, man. It's never been his quality with Luke Shaw. It just feels like he's a cheat, man. That's my problem with Luke Shaw. Like, all of a sudden, he has good competition for his place, and he's fit. He's never been fit for the last 3 years. Man's been looking like me, and I don't even train, and that's an embarrassment. And all of a sudden, Malacia is fighting him for his spot, and he looks fit, looks at it, he makes tackles. You can see getting in 50-50. So that in itself, Luke Shaw losing weight the moment Malacia took his place, for me, is enough to sack him. Just get rid of him. But the Luke Shaw, the footballer, he's a good footballer. I think he's an all right footballer. I think he's fine. So I don't have a problem with Luke Shaw or Malacia when it comes to the performance of the footballer. But I just don't like Luke Shaw anymore. And he was my favorite player when we first signed him. So I think the relationship between me and him is off.
Smokey says Florian Wirtz would be a good replacement for Bruno. I think someone else mentioned another name before. I can't remember what Enzo. Is it Enzo? Is it? Oh,
Enzo Fernandes.
Enzo Fernandes. Yeah, someone mentioned that as well. But yeah, in terms of the Luke Shaw debate, it's another debate as well. Who starts tomorrow, Malacia or Shaw? I think it will be Shaw, isn't it, Statman? I think Shaw will get the nod tomorrow.
I don't think that should be a debate. It's simple. Luke Shaw played well against Everton. Played well.
It's a bit harsh, isn't it, though, to Malacia? Like, all that hard work was done by a game where Man City dominated us anyway, and a game where Sancho gives him a Hollywood, not Hollywood pass, but a pass that he shouldn't have made, and then obviously he gets caught out. It's tough, isn't it? But this is the nature of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, but I said it to you before. I still thought the last couple of games he was kind of slacking off a bit, innit? And I wanted more from him, and he wasn't providing that. And I thought it was the correct time to bring Luke Shaw back in. And Luke Shaw played well. He deserves to start the next game, and until he plays a bad game, he deserves to keep his place, kind of thing.
I think we've had a culture of toxicity and favoritism for the last 3 years. That Eric Ten Hag is doing his best to show players that if you play well, you will get your chance, and if you don't play well, someone else will. I think that's basically what he's trying to do, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's a tough game, man. I think, like I said, we should be beating Newcastle, but again, it's a tough running, man. This top four race is hotting up. By the time we come back next week for this debate show, we'd have played Tottenham as well in this one as well. It's going to be tough, Marcel. This top four battle, it ain't easy, man. Tottenham are more chasing the first position, man. They're only 4 points behind first spot. It's a difficult one, this top four race, isn't it? Because it's like Man City, Liverpool. No, sorry, not Liverpool. Man City, Arsenal, and Tottenham are going upwards, but then there's only one, which is Chelsea. We got to beat them as well on Sunday. So it's a tough battle, isn't it?
We have to back this manager. The fact that we're even in this conversation, it speaks volumes of the early work that he's done. He's made a lot of corrections after the Brighton and Brentford game, and he's understood a style that can get points on the board. He's adapting to the league. It's just his first season, and this is the first time that we're playing even this style of football in a long time. We don't have players suited to this style of football, and we're picking up points. This is positives, to look at for the team in the season. We finished 6th place last season, our worst ever season, and we've already played how many of the top 6? We've played City, we've played Arsenal, we've played Liverpool. We're about to play Spurs, and we've done well. Yes, they've been at home, but we had to put up points on those games. You have to beat what's in front of you, and he's doing the right thing. So it's going to be more positive from this way onwards, but we have to look at the moments where it's a downturn and criticize those, but don't get too reactionary. This is we have to buckle in and back this manager. It's going to be difficult. I'm surprised we're even in the conversation for top 4 from what you said, but it's because of the work that.
Nah, it should always be Man United, isn't it? It should always be a conversation for top 4 at least.
Yeah, but when you look at Liverpool and City over the last 5 years, they've been absolutely dominant. Chelsea's side is better than ours at the moment. You know, they have a better squad than us at the moment, and Arsenal for some reason are being not like themselves. I'm waiting for them to revert back to type. So, you know, it's quite difficult, the top 4 positions, and that we're vying for it in the way that we are, considering, of course, our board and the structure of the club as well. I think he's doing well. He just needs to push on now and be more consistent, especially at home.
I feel like this top 4, this Man United form will be up and down. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate to say it to people. Anyone that's expecting Man United just to keep going up, I think there'll be a lot of up and downs. I think, you know what I mean, don't be shocked. You know what I mean? Obviously, it doesn't mean that you can't have the standards and the you know, want Man United to go and get the 3 points. So we should be expected to get the 3 points. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's going to be a lot of ups and downs. But it's just whether, you know what I mean, United fans can stick together. This is why I made the Bruno Fernandes debate as well today, because we need him to step up this week. Not only him, obviously there's everyone else, but in particular him, where I feel like there's a lot of scrutiny at the minute. This is make or break week for him, because you've got tomorrow, you've got Tottenham, who they will play low block, so we can't allow him just to be fizzing that ball in, you know what I mean? And then you've got Chelsea, who will be a tough battle. So we've got to be united in this front, man. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Let's do the team. Let's do the team before we kind of get our predictions and whatnot. And yeah, guys, there's over 500 of you in here. I don't know how many likes we're on yet, but let's get the likes up, people. Everyone that's watching right now, hit that like button. But yeah, man, are we saying David De Gea still keeps a position? Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. Dallo, I'm guessing plays. I don't think there's going to be anyone else available. Right. What do you think happens, guys? Does Lindelof keep his position, or do you reckon Varane comes back in?
If he's fully fit, he goes back in. If there's a doubt, you play Lindelof.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, let's just assume that he's fully fit then. Let's put Varane in here. Right, midfield, right. Okay, McTominay is not available. So let's just say Casemiro's in then, okay? Because that was the kind of the realization. So Casemiro's in here. Okay, who do you play alongside him?
The man that's been rested midweek, Eriksen, and he's going to be expected to set the tempo and dictate play.
Obviously, they did play together against Everton. It did work out there. So, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm guessing, obviously, Bruno Fernandes keeps his position here. And then we've got, who is saying Anthony. Anthony, what are you expecting more from Anthony, Statman? What were you expecting more from Anthony?
A lot more. I said it before. Other than the goals, I don't think he's been that good. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that he helps with the team width and stuff, but I think his overall wing play has been very disappointing so far. In terms of the way he's looked after the ball, his decision making at times. But listen, man, he's still coming into a new league in it, which is why I give him a bit of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if he's contributing in the way that he is doing, goals every single game and not playing well, I'll take that right now. Especially when you're bedding into a team, it's good for confidence. It's helping the team win games. If he's not playing as well, like Statman's saying, and I agree, and he's still looking a bit awkward, but he's scoring. Say if he scores tomorrow but doesn't have an overall great game, still I'll take that all day.
Adam, are you happy with Anthony at the minute?
Fair enough, yeah, fairly happy with him, and he got a lot of energy, and he presses a lot, he runs a lot. So for the time being, yeah, fairly happy with it. Of course, I will come to expect more, but I don't think he was ever 100 million player. So I don't think we can actually just consider the price tag. I think he's more of a 50 million type of player. And this is what I would expect. And this is what I have in mind when I watch him play. So
yeah,
I'm quite happy.
Okay, then let's move to the left-hand side. Rashford, probably our most informed forward, if you actually deep it. And who would have thought, man? You know what I mean? But Rashford is the guy right now. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's playing with that confidence that we've seen so many years, isn't it, Marcel? That confidence is back from Rashford.
Number 39, Rashford. Number 19, Rashford. That was the guy. He had the energy, the hard work. That type of Rashford is the one that we want to get back in the team. I'm surprised they're putting him on the left, though, side. I thought he'd be up front and Sancho on the left. and I'm still worried.
Oh.
If bit.
No, you're not playing Ronaldo then?
Oh yeah. I've said. Oh yeah, you was going. I don't think we should be playing Ronaldo for this fixture. Personally.
Anyone disagree?
I don't
Of
disagree.
course I do. Ronaldo plays. He scored against Everton. Looked a lot sharper. You play him again. I ain't
But the
trying to
thing
see.
is, if you want Ronaldo and Rashford and Bruno to play, Erik ten Hag needs to tell Rashford that the behavior of last game of shooting on sight at every given chance is not going to cut it. Because people say we are happy to have the confident Rashford. I think it's more of the arrogant Rashford than the confident Rashford. And I don't like the arrogant Rashford. Every time he completes a dribble, he shoots. And if you have Cristiano Ronaldo, the best goal scorer ever, well, at least lift your head up and see who's there. Because if I have to put money on someone scoring, it has to be Cristiano Ronaldo. The data's here.
It's one of them, you know. The front three here of Rashford, Anthony, Bruno, and Ronaldo. I don't know what it is yet, but I just feel like it's probably the most unbalanced front four you're ever gonna get. Like, is anyone, does anyone disagree with that one? Let me know in the comments. Like, does anyone like that front four? Like, I'll be honest with you, it's a bit of a, like I said, I don't know. You got a guy who, they're all clashing each other way in it. Like, it's weird. It's what needs to happen right now, and this is the only way because Martial is out, Sancho's out of form, and Bruno Fernandes is only available. So this is what's gonna happen. So it is what it is. I'm gonna go for 3-1. Marcel, give me your predictions.
I said it before when you came off when you popped off for 2 seconds. 3-1, perfectly said. I think it's a 3-1 game. I think we, if they score first, we come back to win, and if we score, there might be a bit of turbulence for 1-1 for a little bit, but then we'll push on ahead. Should be a good game for us at Old Trafford. We need to win these home games, bro. So 3-1.
Big up. Adam, let us know what your predictions are for the game tomorrow.
I don't think they concede many goals at Newcastle, do they?
Yeah, second least or third least goals in the Premier League.
I don't think they allow more than 2 goals at their worst. So, and I don't think we've been scoring enough goals, to be honest. I'm going with 1-1. I'm going with the draw, I think. And we haven't. Did we draw in the league this season so far?
No draws, man. Ten Hag doesn't do draws, man. No draws in any competition.
I'm going with 1-1. But I hope we win.
Startman, what are you saying?
2-1 United.
2-1 United. Ronaldo goal. Let's hope so, people. Everyone, what's you going for? Malcolm saying 2-1. Robert says 2-0. 0-0 says AJ. MUFC Kaz says, big up to you, bro. He says 2-0. And Nintendo says 2-1. Steve says 2-0. Johan 2-1. Yeah, man. I can see 1-1 says Splashnet. Rondo says 2-0 United. Okay. 3-1. You guys are funny. Get the confidence because Newcastle are good. Well, listen, man. You know what I mean? We got to do it, man. Z-Goal says 4-1. Abdulwali, big up to you, bro. He says 4-0. Listen, man. We're going to see, man. We're going to see what happens. People, we're going to wrap it up here. I'll be back tomorrow. Match day. We're going to be there. Old Trafford. Marcel, you're there, innit, tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm there,
So,
bro.
yeah.
I'll see you there.
I can't believe it, man. First time going to Old Trafford since Arsenal game, man. It's been over a month, so it's going to be good to be back at Old Trafford. The vlog is back tomorrow. We're going to be live with Andy Tate, Flawless, hopefully tomorrow after the game as well. So there'll be lots of content tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, hit the like button right now, put the notifications on. And yeah, man, Marcel, let them know where they can find you, bro.
Marcel 11 or 10 on Instagram, on Twitter, sorry. On Instagram, I think it's a bit different. Marcel.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, follow me, guys.
Big up, man. Adam, big up to you, the Professor Adam. What are you saying, man? Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, on Twitter at Adam Manre. But these days, semester is mad, so I have notification like disabled. Like I don't get the notification. I just tweet something and then I just come 3 days later.
Yeah.
Getting smoked.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And obviously, Statman Bays, let them know, man.
Just Statman Baines on YouTube. I got a video premiering right now. Top 10 goalkeepers in the Prem.
There you go, man. You get me. David De Gea's in that list. That's
better
it.
not be in it. You better not be in it. Stat man.
David De Gea.
I'm very lucky to be on it.
By the way, man, David De Gea, man, we're back, man. We're back, people, man. I'm telling you, man. I feel like people are gonna have humble pie this season. A lot of people are praying on David De Gea's downfall, and I know there's some people in this chat right now, and there's some people are praying on David De Gea's downfall. But let me tell you something: we shall rise again. We are still here. David De Gea, numero uno, is still here. He can play out from the back. His distribution's getting better. You know what I mean? He's coming out. He's marching.
Tomorrow now.
Listen, David De Gea, numero uno. Listen, people. We're back, people. Take care. Bye-bye. And peace.